Once upon a time, in the quaint village of Lioran nestled at the edge of the Great Evergreen Forest, lived a little boy named Elias. With tousled chestnut hair and bright, curious eyes, Elias was known for his boundless energy and insatiable curiosity. The village, with its cobblestone streets and thatched cottages, was a place where time seemed to stand still, and for Elias, it was a playground of endless wonder. Elias lived with his grandmother, Mara, a wise and kind woman who had raised him since his parents disappeared under mysterious circumstances when he was just a baby. Mara often told Elias stories of ancient heroes and mythical creatures, tales of valor and adventure that stirred his young heart. But there was one story she never shared fully, a tale that seemed to weigh heavily on her mind. On the eve of his 10th birthday, Mara finally decided it was time to reveal the secret she had guarded for so long. She took Elias to the attic, a place filled with old relics and dusty tomes. In a corner, hidden beneath a worn quilt, was a small chest. With trembling hands, Mara opened it, revealing a radiant, golden amulet. "Elias," Mara began, her voice thick with emotion, "you are destined for something far greater than you can imagine. This amulet belonged to your father, and his father before him. It is called the Guardian's Heart. You are the next in line to protect our world from a great darkness that threatens to consume it." Elias's eyes widened with wonder and disbelief. "But Grandma, I'm just a boy. How can I save the world?" Mara smiled gently. "Your age does not matter, Elias. What matters is your heart, your courage, and your willingness to face what is to come. The amulet chose you, and it will guide you." That night, Elias could hardly sleep. His mind raced with thoughts of his destiny and the adventure that lay ahead. As dawn broke, he set out towards the Great Evergreen Forest, the amulet hanging heavily around his neck, pulsing with a warmth that seemed to sync with his heartbeat. The forest, with its towering trees and thick underbrush, was a place of mystery and magic. Elias had often played at its edge, but he had never ventured deep within. Now he walked with purpose, following an invisible path that seemed to unfold before him. Birds chirped overhead, and shafts of sunlight pierced through the canopy, illuminating his way. As he journeyed deeper, Elias encountered a creature unlike any he had ever seen. A small, luminescent fairy with delicate wings hovered before him, her eyes sparkling like stars. "Greetings, young guardian," she said in a voice like tinkling bells. "I am Lyra, a guide sent to aid you on your quest. The darkness you must face is growing stronger, and time is of the essence." Elias nodded, feeling a surge of determination. "What must I do, Lyra?" "The source of the darkness lies in the Cavern of Shadows, far to the north," Lyra explained. "But first, you must seek the 3 elements of light: courage, wisdom, and compassion. Only with these can you unlock the true power of the Guardian's Heart." With Lyra as his guide, Elias set off on his quest. Their first destination was the Valley of Bravery, a rugged landscape of jagged cliffs and roaring rivers. Here, Elias would find the element of courage. The journey was arduous, testing his physical limits and mental fortitude. But with each challenge, Elias grew stronger, his resolve unshaken. One day, as he scaled a particularly treacherous cliff, Elias encountered a fierce mountain lion. The creature, eyes gleaming with hunger, prowled towards him. Heart pounding, Elias stood his ground, drawing strength from the amulet's warmth. In that moment, he realized that courage was not the absence of fear, but the ability to face it head-on. The mountain lion, sensing Elias's newfound bravery, bowed its head and retreated, leaving behind a glowing crystal, the element of courage. Next, Lyra led Elias to the Forest of Wisdom, a place where ancient trees whispered secrets of the past and future. Here, Elias would find the element of wisdom. As he wandered through the forest, he met an old hermit named Soren, who possessed knowledge beyond comprehension. For days, Elias sat with Soren, absorbing his teachings and learning to see the world through new eyes. He discovered that wisdom came from understanding, from seeing beyond the surface and embracing the deeper truths of life. One evening, as they sat by a crackling fire, Soren handed Elias a shimmering blue crystal. You have learned well, young guardian. This is the element of wisdom. Use it wisely. With 2 elements in hand, Elias's final destination was the Lake of Compassion. This serene body of water was said to reflect the true nature of one's soul. As Elias gazed into the lake's crystalline depths, he saw not only his own reflection but the faces of those he loved and cared for. He saw his grandmother, her eyes filled with love and sacrifice, and his parents, whose absence had always been a void in his heart. In that moment, Elias understood the power of compassion, the ability to connect with others, to feel their joys and sorrows as if they were his own. Tears streamed down his face as the lake began to glow, a soft pink light rising from its depths to form the final crystal, the element of compassion. With all 3 elements, Elias was ready to face the Cavern of Shadows. The journey north was long and fraught with danger, but Elias's determination never wavered. As he approached the cavern's entrance, a sense of foreboding washed over him. The air was thick with darkness, and an eerie silence hung in the air. Inside the cavern, the darkness seemed to come alive, swirling and coiling like a living entity. At its heart stood a figure cloaked in shadow, the Dark Sorcerer, who had long sought to plunge the world into eternal night. So, the guardian has come at last, the sorcerer hissed, his voice like nails on a chalkboard. But you are too late. The darkness is already too powerful. Elias stood tall, the amulet glowing brightly against the encroaching darkness. I am not alone, he declared, his voice echoing through the cavern. I carry the light of courage, wisdom, and compassion, and with it, I will defeat you. The sorcerer laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. We shall see, little guardian. We shall see. With that, the battle began. The sorcerer summoned tendrils of darkness, but Elias countered with beams of light from the amulet. Each element played its part. Courage to stand firm, wisdom to outsmart the sorcerer's tricks, and compassion to fuel his determination to protect those he loved. The clash was intense, each side pushing the other to the brink. But as the battle raged on, Elias's light grew stronger, fueled by the strength of his heart and the purity of his spirit. With a final, blinding burst of light, the amulet shattered the darkness, reducing the sorcerer to nothing more than a wisp of smoke. The cavern trembled, and the darkness began to dissipate, replaced by a warm, golden light. Elias collapsed to the ground, exhausted but victorious. Lyra fluttered to his side, her eyes filled with pride. You did it, Elias, she whispered. The world is safe because of you. Elias smiled weakly, the weight of his journey lifting from his shoulders. I couldn't have done it without you, Lyra, and without the love and strength of those who believed in me. As he returned to Lioran, the villagers greeted Elias as a hero, their hearts filled with gratitude and awe. Mara embraced him tightly, tears of joy streaming down her face. You have made us all proud, Elias, she said softly. Your parents would be proud too. Elias looked up at the sky, feeling their presence in the gentle breeze that rustled the leaves. He knew that his journey was only the beginning, that his role as the guardian of light would continue. But for now, he was content to be home, surrounded by those he loved. And so, in the quiet village of Lioran, amidst the beauty of the Great Evergreen Forest, the legend of Elias, the little boy destined to save the world, was born. It was a tale of courage, wisdom, and compassion. A reminder that even the smallest among us can become great heroes when guided by the light of their hearts.